Hey, Hickok 45 here. A couple of shooting tips came to mind that I thought I'd share with you in a relatively short video here. One of the things I do that I think helps is I just exercise my hand. You know, I get a lot of questions about grip and things, and keeping something like this around handy. I keep that in the car actually, and when I'm driving, I don't know if that's the best one, Gripmaster. But anything, it doesn't matter what brand it is, but I've done that really for the last 20, 30 years, I guess, back when I was competing a lot and playing basketball. I mean, these kinds of things have just always been a part of my routine, not every day, but when I think about it, I'll just pick it up and, work it a little bit. I don't know, now my hands are tired, I probably won't be able to shoot, but I think that can help. Some people have trouble limp wristing a gun and causing malfunctions because of that. Then other folks might just not grip the gun as firmly as they can easily, I guess you could say. Whereas if you've got a pretty strong grip, you can have a fairly firm grip on that gun and not feel like you're working at it. That might be the biggest advantage, where you can keep just a relatively firm grip without having to feel like you're squeezing on it. I don't know. Just a thought, if you don't do that already, just strengthening your grip might be of some benefit if you like to shoot handguns and you're just getting into it especially. The other tip, it occurred to me as I was shooting one day last week, I guess, is something that I have noticed in my own shooting that I think has improved my shooting to some extent. And that is when I started doing cowboy shooting and began shooting duelist. I think I mentioned that in one of the recent videos, but with the old Colt single actions, because I wanted to develop some skill at it, and I was going to be shooting with one hand in any match I shot in or shoot in. I wanted to learn to shoot with one hand, and I think I used to shoot these pretty much even with one hand anyway, but I was actually kind of working on it, and cocking it without having to jack it up toward the sky, keep it on the target, cock, and go from target to target, that sort of thing. So I just was working one-handed more and found myself shooting one-handed more often. Like even at long range, just playing and getting used to the feel, especially with the single action revolver. And that kind of translated. I find myself with a Glock or whatever I had in my hand, just shooting with one hand more often. I don't know why, but one thing I noticed about it is what it does is it makes you focus on the trigger a lot more than maybe you normally do, because when you put the gun in your hand, one hand, and you focus on that target like way over there or right here, anywhere, you've got a different kind of grip. You don't have the same firm grip on that gun necessarily, the support of that weak hand, and it forces you to focus on the trigger release a little bit more, I think. I think it really does. And I guess I'm just advising maybe it's something you want to do sometimes. And I'm not talking about the issue of learning to shoot with one hand, this hand or your weak hand and all those kinds of things and drills that, a lot of people advocate you do, learn to shoot with both hands, at least with your weak hand to where you can get a shot off and hit something, if you need to. I'm talking about just doing it with probably your right hand, your strong hand, just as a training exercise to increase your ability to shoot. Let me put some bullets in here, show you what I mean. Yeah, you just don't have the same feel. So let me just see if I can hit something. Boom. Let's see that plate over there. So, I don't know. I think, let me try another gun. Try a revolver here with a double action. Could be my imagination, but I don't really think it is. It just seems to have given me a little better control over the trigger. I'm going to shoot double action with just the one hand hold. Okay. And here's a Beretta. Let's try that. And to tell you the truth, actually trying to really focus on something at long range or some really small target, whether you hit it or not. I mean, even something that you don't feel like you can hit, I think it just really helps your concentration and your trigger control. I'm just going to shoot across the hill over there at, oh, I don't know, one of the animals, maybe a pig or something. And I'm not going to worry about whether I hit it or not. I just want to shoot one-handed. Oh boy, doesn't want to fall. Huh, took 3 to kill him. But there's just something about it that, you know, it's harder to stay on target, and you really have to finesse the trigger. Could be me, but I just think it helps. So anyway, that's just a little tip there. You can use it for what it's worth, take it for what it's worth. But again, with your strong hand, just focus on something small when you're at the range, and don't worry about whether you shoot well or not, or be embarrassed about throwing rounds off the target every other shot. You'll get to where you can shoot it better, and I think it just enhances your trigger control. All right? So that's my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. Talk to y'all later.